When a child suddenly withdraws, becomes unusually anxious, or shows a new fear of attending school, they are often dealing with an unseen digital crisis. These subtle shifts in behavior are frequently the first outward signs of cyberbullying, targeted online harassment, or direct digital threats. Because these events happen on personal devices, the danger is entirely invisible to the adults around them. To resolve these situations safely, we are going to walk through a structured, step-by-step protocol. You will learn exactly how to document the evidence, approach the school, and build a communication channel that protects the student. A parent's first instinct is often to react immediately and confront the perceived aggressor. But reacting on emotion can easily make the situation worse. A calculated, process-driven response is what actually ensures the safety and well-being of the child. The process starts at home, the moment you observe device-related anxiety. Pay attention to physical cues during their screen time. If your child starts angling their phone away from you, quickly closing apps when you enter the room, or showing sudden drops in mood right after receiving a notification, you need to initiate a conversation. Open the dialogue with a calm, non-confrontational statement. Use these exact words. "I've noticed that you seem worried lately. You can talk to me. I'm here to listen and help." The fastest way to shut this conversation down is to blame the child for their digital habits or to threaten confiscation of the device. If they fear losing their phone, they will hide the problem. By setting a calm, non-judgmental tone, you remove the fear of punishment. This approach positions you as an ally rather than an interrogator, which is the necessary first step for your child to feel safe enough to disclose what is happening to them. This diagram illustrates our three-pillar evidence preservation framework: listen, document, and protect. First is the listen phase. Your goal here is to gather the raw facts. Ask simple, open-ended questions and allow your child to explain the events in their own words so they can define the full scope of the incident. Next, we document. You must capture the digital evidence exactly as it appears on the original device. Take screenshots of the harassing messages, images, or threats. As you take those screenshots, ensure you are capturing the specific metadata. The relevant timestamps and the sender's username or phone number must be clearly visible in the image for the school to take action. Finally, we protect. Keep these captured files strictly local to your device. This maintains a clean chain of custody for the evidence. Do not forward these screenshots to other parents, and never post them into public group chats or social media pages. Sharing this information publicly instantly violates confidentiality. It alerts the aggressors, invites unwanted community involvement, and rapidly escalates the social danger to your child. Adhering strictly to this documentation protocol ensures the integrity of the evidence is preserved while perfectly shielding the child from further public exposure. This organizational chart shows how to identify the correct operational contact. Instead of reaching out to the general administration desk, direct your communication to specialized roles, such as the class advisor, guidance counselor, or child protection coordinator. When drafting your initial outreach message, filter out the emotion. Keep the language objective, respectful, and focused entirely on the preserved facts. Here is the exact template you should use to close your message. We would like to work with the school to understand what happened and agree on the safest next steps. A common error at this stage is demanding immediate, harsh punishment for the other students involved. That puts the school on the defensive. Instead, focus your request on the process. Ask the school how they will formally assess the situation, protect the involved students during the investigation, and deploy the support plan. This measured, template-driven approach removes hostility from the equation. It neutralizes any institutional defensiveness and forces the school to respond to you as an active, rational partner. During your alignment meeting with the school, bring your documented evidence. Be ready to review their action plan, agree to their procedural steps, and commit to maintaining absolute privacy regarding the other students involved. After the meeting, your ongoing role is observation. Monitor your child's baseline behavior and emotional well-being at home to ensure the interventions are working. In return, the school's responsibility is to maintain clear communication. They must respond appropriately to the evidence and provide scheduled updates on their internal assessment, while respecting everyone's privacy. When both the parents and the school adhere to their roles in this action plan, it creates a closed-loop system of accountability. Threats are addressed early, responsibly, and without slipping through the cracks. The immediate result of executing this protocol is seeing the affected student walk confidently back into their classroom, feeling supported, safe, and ready to resume their normal academic routine. But the long-term impact reaches far beyond a single incident. Handling one concern with care, fairness, and consistency proves to the entire student body that the adults are capable of protecting them. It builds a culture where students feel empowered to speak up early. Safer schools are not created by zero-tolerance policies alone. They are built upon strong, highly structured partnerships between calm parents and responsive educators. Listen before reacting. Report concerns early, and work with the school, not against it.